with us here. We're trying to get YouTube to get us on here. On the Instagram, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. You can leave your comments on YouTube. We're here on our national program, Lawyer Henderson TV. We are basically in the building. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. You are up with us on the East Coast. I'm here on the West Coast, so of course around it's right now. The time is let's see what time it is here on the West Coast. Let's see what's going on. 8:34 on the West Coast. So it's about, I think, 11 something there, guys, on the East Coast. So yeah, I'm having a lovely day here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lovely day back here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here on vacation also because of my birthday coming up Sunday. Me and my twin sister turning 41 years old, 41 years young. 41 years old, 41 years young. The number to call in if you want to is 516-418-5867 to speak to the host, 516-418-5867. Lawyer is live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and had a very nice time. I've been having some great time here in Las Vegas. I got a chance to go to a lot of places, a lot of casinos here. Got an opportunity to, chill and relax. Today, though, we're talking about understanding why the white media has to manufacture propaganda against Black people. Okay? Bad media is manufactured as a scapegoat for white supremacy, white supremacy, and that's important for us to understand. And we're also going to be talking about the FBI's statistics on Blacks attacking Asians. Must be taken, of course, with a grain of salt. As you know, it is the white supremacists. It have not been Black people who has been attacking Asians. It has been the white supremacists. But the Asian community is not calling out the white supremacists. They're not calling out white men for their attacks against them. They're wanting to try to scapegoat it. And of course, finally, we're also going to be talking about the FBI's bogus statistics that says that Black people is attacking Asians. I'm sorry, that wasn't finally. We're also going to be talking about the give Black people reparations. Why? Hell, that's not reparations. We cannot allow the white media and white people to define what reparation is. We, as Native Blacks, we're here live. 516-418-5867 is your call-in number. We're live in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's it. 516-418-5867. We are live in the building, Las Vegas, Nevada, in the house. We are here, Lawyers from TV. The FBI's bogus statistics, claiming that Black people have been attacking Asian Americans is up. And this is given the white supremacist media like Tucker Carlson to lie and to propagate that it has been Black people attacking Asian Americans. We'll have that conversation here a little bit here in just a moment. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about understanding why the white media has to manufacture this propaganda against Black people. Black people, of course, is the scapegoat against white supremacy and why that is important. The white supremacists are trying to basically build and remain their buffer class to be on their side and do not go on the side of black people. In Georgia, of course, I'm not there right now, but they had this march and you had all these black people out there cooning, talking about we stand for you and all this stuff. Folks, we don't owe the Asian community nothing. We don't owe them no apology because we're not the one out there attacking them. They only have video of the same person that they showed, the same media version of the same black dude with mental illness, and supposed to then I think what they want us to believe is the increased tax on Asians have grown. This is white media propaganda. You got to understand that. And black people out here trying to say, well, we stand by the Asian community and blah, blah, blah. We don't need to go out there and confirm our support for no race because we have been helping everybody else besides each other. And that's the truth. 516-418-5867. I'm live here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is 8:41 here on the West Coast. The Lori Henderson podcast here. And a person asked, did you move here? No, I didn't. No, I didn't move here. No, I'm only here for a week. Okay, someone asked, did I move here? Of course. No, I didn't. Only here for a week. Okay. But the white media basically has to propagandize these lies. You see, the white media has to basically keep this going. And we're going to go ahead and get into an article, and I wanted y'all to basically follow me so that we can basically get the information out on what's going on. You see, global white supremacy is a threat to us all. It's a threat to the Asian and Hispanic community as well. White supremacy is very dangerous. And mind you, the Asian people are not calling out the white supremacy because they're very, very certain that being the buffer class and the so-called model minorities, as these white people call them, they basically is not wanting to say white supremacy. They're scared to say it. But see, it's been black people, the native blacks here in America, we've been calling out these lies. But let's go into the article 2 years ago, August the 7th, 2019. Is where we're going to get you started here on our conversation about the propaganda in the media. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe, family. Like, share, and subscribe. We're the only podcast that allow you to call in and say what's on your mind. And we don't care about you cussing and fussing. I've had white supremacists call my show, calling me all kinds of monkeys and stuff like that. Folks, that doesn't faze me. I know these people are cowards. They're not going to stand up their face. These white boys are cowards. That's the reason why they got a whole system behind them. They got the police. They got the sheriff. They got FBI agents. They got state police. These people built up a system so that basically they can be defended, okay? A white dude is nothing without a gun. So for him calling me names on air, that's nothing, man. That's nothing. That's just showing their cowardice. They're not going to say that in my face. Of course not. And he's calling for a 510 number. I got his number, whatever. They call for a 510 number. He's waiting in California. I mean, right now I'm next door to him, but folks, they're not going to come down here to Nevada. Come on. But anyway, let's talk about it. 7 facts about Black Americans in the news media. Okay? And I want to talk and I want to give credit to pewresearch.org. Okay? Even though the white media as a whole, you see, they'll tell half-truths, but then they'll start putting all their little manufactured propaganda inside the article. Okay? It started out here that says that this week, the National Association of Black Journalists, the NABJ, holds its annual meeting in Miami. The meeting comes amid increased attention to the role of Black journalists in the United States and recent changes to Black-oriented news media organizations, such as the decision by the Chicago Defender, a Black newspaper founded in 1905, to cease printing, though it will remain available online. Okay. Pew Research Center has studied Black American attitudes towards the news media, as well as their news consumption habits for years. We have also examined minority representation within U.S. newsrooms. To coincide with the NABJ conference, here are some 7 key facts about Black Americans and the news media. Now, we have to understand why propaganda in the news media about Black people is necessary. Okay? It says in this article, according to Pew Research Center, that 1 in 3 say that they have a lot of trust in the information they get from local news organizations, higher than the share of whites. National news organizations, Blacks 23%, are about as likely as whites 20% and Hispanics 24% to express a lot of trust, you see. So you can see that these numbers are low. A majority of Black adults, 80%, expect that national news stories will be accurate. Now, look at this. This is saying expect. More than a share of whites, 71% of U.S. adults have this expectation. Okay? So far, the expectation of news reporting to be accurate is in a high number of percentage range, right? But that's not actuality. Okay? We'll go on to part 2, where it says Black adults are more likely to feel connected to their main source of news. About half of Blacks, 53%, felt connected to their main news source overall, compared with 4 in 10 whites and 40 of Hispanics. Hispanics and Black Americans are also more likely to say news organizations understand people like them. Now, let's stop right there. They're basically talking about your Black conservatives, your Black liberals. They're talking about your Black married couples, okay? Because if you're going to put 46%, and we don't know about how many people did this survey here, there's a question as to why the white media has to always talk about percentages. They have to always talk about numbers, because it helps them to basically, like I said in other commentary, justify certain types of arguments that they can use as propaganda. Now let's go ahead and go into it. It goes on to say here, pewresearch.org, that Hispanics and Black Americans, let me read it. It's 43% of Black and half of Hispanics say so, compared with 36% of whites. Party could play a role here. Black and Hispanic Americans are more likely than whites to identify as Democrats. There you go, you see. And we have to stop right there. You see, if Black people was not caught up into Democrats and Republicans and calling themselves conservative Blacks and Republicans, and calling themselves conservative Blacks and liberal Blacks, that these issues, in fact, there's other things that they do, of course. How they separate us from our women, getting them to think they're independent without us. Another problem here. It goes on to write here on part 3 of the 7 points that they're going to try to make here. Political leaders, known as the media's watchdog role, keep these leaders from doing things that shouldn't be done. No, they don't. No, they don't. If you look at the average politician, the average police officer, even if they are basically are on camera is still going to try to manufacture evidence. They're going to still come up with ways and lies so that they can basically do whatever they want, because it's all about, I'm white, I say so, and this is where is what it's going to be. A similar portion of Hispanics, 72%, say the same, deal fairly with all sides, compared with 56% who says news organizations tend to favor one side. In comparison, whites are more likely to say that news organizations tend to favor one side. 76% say this. Okay? So again, we're talking about how many people that these people surveyed in order to come up with their statistics here. Because like I said, the role of the news media is to propagate. So we have it here, and we're going to get into the conversation more over in depth here. But remember, if Black people are being portrayed as negative in the news media, that basically helps people like Tucker Carlson from Fox News to say, oh yeah, and Black people are also is people you have to watch out for. They commit the most crimes, blah, 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 blah. Crime is up and all this stuff, and that moves you away from white on white crime. That's the propaganda, okay? Is to basically remove the perpetrators from the actual statistics and the crime that he or she is doing. The white media's role, of course, is to manufacture this information so that it can get out to the public and lie and manipulate and thinking that Black people are committing the crimes moreover than whites and others. The role of the media is to basically inculcate into the minds of whites that Black people are also more dangerous than any other so-called minorities. We've been trying to tell you here in the Black media that propaganda coming from white folks is the reason why white supremacy has been maintained. White supremacy has been maintained because the propaganda arm of white supremacy is going to make sure that people is given false information. And when false information has been placed out there in society and it has been inculcated in the minds of people, then people then look at you in a different light. Every Black person who now wears a hoodie like Trayvon Martin is a suspect. Notice how George Zimmerman had to basically try to, set up the narrative that Trayvon Martin was an actual criminal, and then he said these whatever he said always get away. You see, his rationalization and justification of shooting and killing Trayvon is based upon propaganda. The white media then comes to help out to sell the narrative to the public, and that's the reason why the Black media was formed, because we bring the truth, we speak truth to power. We basically, before the Black media, and we're not talking about your old dead media, we're talking about your grassroots Black media. Before we were created, white people could lie in the news organizations all they wanted to, right? They could say that Black people, there has been a lot of crime in the Black community, blah, 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 blah. And that helps to then exacerbate and the lies and the manipulation that everybody has to watch out for Black folks, even when you're coming from other nations. What are we seeing now in the media? This lie that Black people are Black people are attacking Asians. These attacks that's coming from the white media, specifically ABC News, that help to propagate and manufacture these lies. Let's speak on it. Hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe. 516-418-5867, 516-418-5867. And I don't know if we're going to see if the phone line says that it's currently out of order. Something's currently out of order. I'm going to fix that here. Keep it here to the Lawyer Henderson podcast. We're on live Thumbs up, family. Like, share, and subscribe. We are live on YouTube. We are also on Instagram. We are coming into your house live from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. Is the Sin City capital of the world. I'm your gracious host. I'm Lawyer here. Celebrate my birthday here on Sunday. I will be 41 years old. Me and my twin sister, we're turning 41 years old on Sunday. White media, and we have to understand why the white media has to manufacture propaganda against Black people. Black people, of course, is being used in order to bring all of these illegal immigrants into this nation right now. The attacks, you see, we are losing ground. So they want to make sure that they have support of their buffer class. See, white people have done everything to every race, trying to, put these people and constantly keep them on a pedestal as if they're God's gift to the world. But no, we're going to be talking continuously about understanding why the white media has to manufacture propaganda. And we're taking your calls. If you want to call in, it's up to you. I don't stress for people to call in. 516-418-5867, 516-418-5867. We're live here in Las Vegas. Oh, wait a minute. Did I lose? Hold on. See if I lost something here. Okay. We're back here. All right. So we're going to be talking about the FBI statistics and data as well tonight. The FBI released these statistics, and it gave white supremacist or suspected white supremacist Tucker Carlson, it gave him the argument that Black people have been increasing attacks on Asians. And of course, we know that this is a lie. We basically have seen that the white media has manufactured this propaganda. Okay? And we look at the propaganda and we see that the FBI statistics does not show like the white media, Tucker Carlson says. Okay? And we're going to be talking about here about the 2018 crime statistics, and then I'm going to bring it back to what we're looking at now in 2021. 2018, we showed that white people have been attacked by other white people. We show that Black people have been attacked by a lot of different races, 964, which is unknown, according to the FBI. Percent of Hispanics and Latinos have attacked Black people. Non-Hispanic or Latinos have been 1,878, and 964 has been unknown, which means virtually it means white. Okay? We see that the race of the offender, when they're white on white violence is up. 2,677 white people has been attacked by other white people. Okay? Then they said, well, Black people have been attacked by other Black people is 2,600. Offenders in white on white crime is the same. It is trying to basically say that the same is with Black offenders. But in that same number, it shows that in 2008 that there has also been white people who have been attacking Black people. 234 white people have attacked Black people, according to the statistics. Information suggests that 234 white people have attacked Black people back in 2018. And mostly it's been white men. Understand? 291 has been white females, and 31 has been unknown. In other words, Hispanics, Asians, somebody else, okay? We can also go down to the FBI statistics of sex crimes. When the victim, of course, is female, the victim who is white, of course, mostly the perpetrator is white men, mostly, or another white female. So white people have been attacking other white people, which is up. It was up 46-39. Most of those attacks have came from white men. You understand? And that's in 2008. So I want to point that out, the crime statistics into 2018 and where we go from that year up until today. Now, this is where they had to change the narrative. And here's the problem with that. When they release these crime statistics, the ideal here is that they try to set a narrative that white supremacy is not the problem. That's because the FBI and federal government, they also represent white supremacy, okay? But here is this independent news source, Lethal News, suggests that the FBI crime stats prove white supremacy not responsible for hate crime threats to Asians. See, this is independently written, and these people who have written this article knows that their statistics are wrong. But even in a suggested move that we know that they're lying about the statistics, we're going to talk about it in this article anyway. Okay, it's by Paul Joseph Watson. He sounds like a white supremacist. But it goes on to say, and I'm giving credit to Mr. Watson from Summit News, Lethal News. He says that FBI crime statistics debunk the media's narrative that white people represent the biggest violent crime threats to Asians, with figures showing whites significantly underrepresented in crime stats compared to their per capita population. Since the killing of 6 Asian women who worked in a massage parlor in Atlanta, the media has amplified the false narrative that white supremacy is to blame. Okay? They hype this explanation despite the fact that the attack has nothing whatsoever to do with race, and despite 2 white women also being killed during the shooting. Now, here's the thing. This Aaron Long, or whatever his name, he didn't know that there was going to be 2 white folks there. So they basically was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He killed 6 Asian women. So it defunks the argument that he was also targeting white people. No, those white people were at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's the only reason why he shot them as well. But he goes on to say, this Paul Joseph Watson dude, he goes on to talk about, despite admitting the attack has no racial motive, CNN still blame it on white nationalists and domestic extremists in an article titled "White Supremacy and Hate Are Haunting Asian Americans." Now, understand that we know that CNN is no friend to us as Black people. We know that. But the article that CNN wrote about that could not be more further for the truth. But see, we cannot fall into the liberal propaganda here, because now they're trying to then bring back their audience. See, a lot of these so-called liberal media organizations, they lost their audience to the grassroots. And now their advertisers, instead of going to CNN, which they still go to, and all these other people, but the advertisers are now having to come and do business with the Black media now. Why? Because they know that most of their art, we even get white people listening to us. But anyway, because no one listening to the white media no more. The white media is filled with propaganda. And I know we got a lot of people in college and university that says that I want a career in journalism. But what did that black person have to do to get a career in journalism? That black person has to go into journalism and attack their own race in order to keep a job in the white press. That right there shows you that media is biased. You see, the white supremacists will not admit, that everything that they do has to basically be codified and everybody has to be on code. See, white people get on code real quick. The white supremacists are able to help in their manufacturing, and then the enforcement arm will see the FBI and the police. They all are on code whenever the white media propagates certain things about black people in the media. Come on now, hit that thumbs up button. But Mr. Watson, this suspected white supremacist, go on to say, though, that, however, official crime shows that white people are significantly underrepresented in terms of the violent crime threat they pose to Asians. As the Washington Examiner highlights, okay, another white press, citing FBI statistics, whereas white comprise 62% of the population, they committed 24 of the crimes Asians in 2018. Now listen to this. That's the reason why I want to come out. To talk about the article in the FBI statistics in 2018, right? Because crimes against Asians were very low, even if the attack were being argued coming from white people in a sense or coming from black people. But white on white crime was up at the same year. Okay, but Mr. Watson seems to only point out the attacks on Asian that the white media are afraid to talk about. But nonetheless, he goes on to write, though, that in comparison, blacks who comprise 13% of the population, or 13% of the population, we're now 14% now, thank you, committed 27.5% of all violent crimes against Asian Americans in 2018. You see? You see what he's saying? That's a lie. That's a lie. We did not commit 27.5% of all violent crimes in 2018. I just gave you the FBI crime statistics. The crimes against Asians in 2018 was very real violent crimes against Asians until Trump said, Kung flu, the Asian no longer be seen as anything other than institutional racism and hatred towards white people. Now, that nationalists speak. You understand? The typical white nationalist is the one who says, oh, we basically get discriminated against. You're engaging in reverse racism. These are white people who basically they had flunked in their own race. They're not like the other white boys who have gotten these corporate CEO jobs. They're not like them. They are flunking in their own race. Some of them, they date downward. They might go get some trashy white girl who is not having no life as well. Or they might get a regular black person. These are the people who write these articles and get jobs in these low-level news organizations. That's the reason why they're very dangerous as well here. And that's the problem. Them and the black conservative are problematic. You understand? Because they talk the same argument. We're here in Las Vegas, 516-418-5867, 516-418-5867. I think the phone person may not go through because I don't know what the lines are doing here in Vegas, but we're going to keep on going. Let's see if I get that fixed. We're here. Thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe, family. Las Vegas, Nevada. Oh man, it was so hot today in Vegas. I was like, man, what was? It was like it was a cool day. It wasn't real hot, but it basically it was enough to strip the Vegas Strip as I did today, and trying to get my exercise in. Then I visited some casinos last night, and I was like, man, I lost a lot of money, but hey, that's what you do when you gamble. 516-418-5867. We're live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're going to continue our discussion about how the white media, continues to propagate lies, and their continues to propagate lies, and their anti-black racism continues. I'm lawyer Henderson. I am your gracious host. Of course, it is almost past midnight on the East Coast, but we're here on the West Coast. So we're right now. It's about, I think. Let's check the temperature and time. 9:13 on the West Coast. Lawyer Henderson, examiner. Anti-Asian violence can't be blamed on Trump supporters. Now, this article was written by Ryan Gardosky on March the 18th, 2021. Okay. Now, I'm going to read this article not because, as y'all think, oh, he must be a conservative, and oh, he must be a conservative, and like these Republicans, supremacists on both sides, because the enforcement arm of white supremacy likes to the propaganda arm of white supremacy likes to look at both of their sides, the left wing of white supremacy and the white wing of white supremacy. They both have two sides. Okay. So what we do in the black media, like we should do on the grassroots level, is we have to look at what both the liberals and Democrats, we go in and we attack, go in and discredit. The FBI's statistics have no real truth and bearing as far as blacks being the increase of violence against Asian Americans. There's no way that their statistics are telling the truth. And that's where manufactured propaganda come in. The enforcement arm of white supremacy, i.e. the police and the FBI, they're going to make sure that the white media, that they have their back in order to say, hey, they're already reporting from the New York Times that suggests that the FBI is forced to basically to protect Asians and stuff, and they're looking into certain types of black people, talking about need to stop attacking Asians. You had some coons down there in Atlanta a few days ago talking about on their bullhorn, talking about, oh, we support the Asian community, we're staying with you, and blah 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 blah, and have black people everywhere you go. They want to get some attention. So they were standing up on cars and all this stuff, and with their bullhorn and trying to apologize for something that we are not doing. Call it for what it is. This is white supremacy attacking Asian folks. And the propaganda is out there. But the conservative source Americans Deserve, which is the Washington Examiner, who basically wrote an article here, and I'm going to give them the credit because we are going to be using this as fair use rights. Remember, we have to put on our fair use hat here, where we use these articles and we dissect and we attack these articles and we attack the hell out of it. And that's what the white media hates about the black media. That's what they hate about the grassroots. See, it used to be a time where they would just tell and report some stuff, come back, and we then sum up the facts. We bring the truth. We defunct these lousy statistics and the laziness from the FBI and the federal government that suggests that we basically, as black folks, are attacking Asians. But nevertheless, the article goes on to write here that the horrific murder of 8 people on Tuesday, victims mostly of Asian descent, has spurred a national conversation about rising violence against Asian Americans. The sole suspect is a troubled 21-year-old white man from Georgia. Now, notice that they have to put troubled 21-year-old white man. Troubled 21-year-old white man. This mass shooting may not be racially motivated. You see, there's the white media again. Just because this man killed 2 white people, I think, they're trying to say it's not racially motivated. But as I said earlier, they were basically at the wrong place at the wrong time and they got shot and killed. But this man was attacking Asian Americans and mental health problems. See, they're already trying to scapegoat here. Still, as an anti-Asian crime have risen across the country, blue check marks on Twitter have placed the blame on former President Donald Trump and white supremacy. Okay, it is the blame that we need to blame it on. The article goes on to say, though, that the left seems to need to blame every element of society at the feet of white people. Conservatives and Trump himself lacks any form of seriousness. While there are some of the violent perpetrators who are white, conservative, or Trump supporters, FBI statistics suggest that most anti-Asian violence have come from black perpetrators. There they go. You see, they're lying. They never let it go here. Refusing to look at these statistics represent a refusal to take seriously the lives and security of Asian Americans. You see? So basically, the white media went out there and got pictures of people, black mental guys, just 1 or 2, who's knocking down Asians in few locations, and then they show the same stuff on the media and say, look, there's an increase on anti-Asian violence. Okay? And so the Asian people are not calling this out. Why? Because they don't want to upset they don't want to upset white supremacy. Remember, the Asians have always been bragging that not only was they from the Washington Examiner goes on to say here, according to the Justice Department, 27.5% of violent crimes against Asian Americans in 2018 were committed by black people. That's over 50,000 incidents in one single year. This is a lie. This is a propaganda statement, a propagandized statement that has been formulated by the white press. Nevertheless, here, it goes on to say white criminals and Asian criminals each account for 24.1% of all identity crimes, committed up to 6.2% of the population, but just 1% of the perpetrators of violent crimes. White people are 62% of the population, but commit 50% of violent crimes. No, they basically make up more percentages than that. White people make up 70 to about 80% of all crimes in this country. It goes on to say, though, that this bears note in light of the left narrative that white Trump supporters are propelled towards violence against Asian Americans because of xenophobia, racism, and Trump's usage of about the coronavirus. The narrative falls apart very quickly when observing the data. You see, so the FBI have went out and propagated a lot of these lies that the white media can sell us based upon looking at camera videos of just 1 or 2 black mental guys randomly who didn't even know. The left-wing outlets such as Vox have claimed that interracial violence between black and Asian people is a consequence of white supremacy. It is. While being ridiculous at face value, it also unverifiable, which likely is the point. If you can disprove something based on the data, then you can perpetrate the narrative. The same liberal who said that white supremacy is blamed for anti-Asian crimes are also some of the people who have said Asians are white adjacent and benefit from white privilege. Okay? Now, we're going to stop right there and we're going to continue here, because it goes on to basically talk about that one incident where the 89-year-old guy got knocked down or assaulted it's going to go into that. But what we're going to do is we're going to break a lot of this down because, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Oh, we're going to go in depth today. Here's the issue here. Just because you got people writing things on a piece of paper, they have no, it is helping the white media to bring a forced narrative that is not out there. And this is what we mean when we're talking about forced propaganda, manufactured propaganda, lies to the media, and betraying Black people as criminals when we see that white supremacy is the actual problem. That's the reason why you have to understand why the white media has to propagate and manufacture lies against Black people. It uses it as a scapegoat so that the white supremacists are never punished. You understand? This is their narrative. Sitting up here calling this guy, this Long guy, Eric Long, or however you say his name, saying that, making an excuse for him, talking about he had a sex addiction, talking about he basically had all these types of, he had a bad day. This is white supremacy getting on cold, and at the same time trying to debunk the argument about white crime against Asians, white crime against Black people, white crimes against other white folks. This is their narrative here. We have to be very, very careful when we listen to manufactured propaganda. We're going to talk about it here. That's the reason why the Black media here. And if it wasn't for the Black media, you would have had so many Black folks, because they were, instead of listening to us, they will be on World Star Hip Hop. They would be listening to the white media like ABC News. They would be listening to the old dead Black media like Roly Poly Martin. And they would not be getting the information that is important for them to learn and understand about why the white media have to propagandize these lies. You see, their numbers are dwindling. You see, the white supremacists no longer they're losing power here. I'm here right now in Vegas, right? And I understand why they want the police officers, the Hispanics, and all them being cops here, coming from south of the border and coming from the south, where basically they are not really training these people to really understand different cultures and race here. They're just saying, hey, come on over here, learn English, and you're going to be our police officers because we can control Mexican, Hispanics, because y'all are immigrants, and therefore, if y'all not going to police the way we want y'all to police, well, we'll send you back to your country. We'll send you back to what Donald Trump described as your shithole country. Asians, they basically know that they cannot come over here and align with Black people and to help us because they know that they're going to be going back. You see, us here who are the Black natives, you can't do anything for us. So now you got to basically do certain things. You got to try to set us up. You got to have some old dusty Negro to shoot us and kill us like this dude did Nipsey Hussle. You got to poison our food. You got to manufacture some type of coronavirus. You got to shoot and kill us. You got to get some of our wives to poison our food by making our favorite food so we can get poisoned. This is what the tactics of how the white supremacists have to do to the native Black, because you cannot send us back to the country because this is the country we built. Somebody talk Black to me here. You see, when you spit fire, the white supremacists do not want to talk to you anymore. The Black conservative is nowhere around. You see, these Black conservatives who've been calling my show, they've been saying, "Oh yeah, you got to worry about these Hispanics and other minorities coming from south of the border." Yes, of course, they've already made 3 million, 11 million people citizens. As Tariq Nasheed pointed out, they basically allowed these people to get hotel rooms where the government is financing them to come over here to replace blacks. You got white media is going to continue this. They do not want black folks to no longer to be a part of their system. You see this in certain institutions. That's the reason why I told you about the racist that called me last week, calling me a monkey and all that. You know why he's doing that? It's because he knows that I have to go into depth as to try to find out who he is. You understand? And when the white media, okay, okay, hold on. We can go back in here. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Family, like, share, and subscribe. Uh-oh, wait a minute. We are, okay, we are here live on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Hold on. We have to, there have been some, damn, everything's going wrong right now. Hold on. Hold on, guys. We're live still. Okay. You know, let's fix this. We got to get back on the. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please enter your host pin. When finished, press the pound key. Let's get back on air, guys. Hold on. Hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, and subscribe, family. Like, share, and subscribe. To start your show now, press 1 to hear. Simply pay your caller back into a live show. We're reconnecting you now. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about understanding why the white media has to manufacture propaganda against blacks. Now, when we come back from the music break, we have to talk about the town of Evanston, Illinois, claiming that they're the first to give black people reparation. More propaganda here. Let's talk about it. Thumbs up button, thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, family. The black media is on it tonight. Like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, family. Lawyer Henderson TV podcast. We're live in Las Vegas, Nevada for my 41st birthday. Me and my twin sister will turn 41 on Sunday. And I'm chilling here in Vegas, the Sin City. How's everyone doing? We're basically taking, if you want to call in, 516-418-5867, or also chat with us on Lawyer Henderson TV. We're also y'all are in the chat room, and I'm glad to hear that y'all responding how the government is giving these immigrants monies so that they can live in hotels. But poor black people who stay here, they have to get vouchers, and you have to share these vouchers, or the vouchers in these hotels are very limited. Okay, you got to reapply and all of that and stuff, but they're basically giving monies to the immigrants. And Joe Biden is already talking about making them citizens, and I think he has already passed that bill. So soon we'll be having some more illegal immigrants coming over here to take black people's jobs. And I told you all that black people have to be very careful in trying to make everybody their friends, because what's going on now is that Black people are being replaced by the illegal immigrants. They're trying to educate these immigrants so that they can not only become police officers, but they can work heavily in other types of government positions that you see Black men and Black women in right now. And since we have enough Black folks on code, the white supremacists are upset with us. Y'all keep on talking about this Black and on this Black stuff and all of that. They are here to undermine us. You see, it was the civil rights generation that basically kept playing their game after the assassination of Dr. King. So then now it's the children of the civil rights generation and the grandchildren of the civil rights generation. We're trying to bring things back to where we were during Reconstruction, where Black people were doing business. And of course, we were even doing business with the white supremacists, believe it or not. But yet, I'm saying the Democrats at that time said, "No, this is a white man's country. No, you can't. We're not going to be your friends. We're not going to do business with you." And so they told us that we had to get out of town by sundown. You understand? So now, what we've done since the civil rights generation have been so afraid to speak truth to power. Now we basically had to get the Black media started. The Black media is doing the work now that your so-called old dead Black media, they're trying to sound like us a little bit, but they still have the problem with being authentic. You see, Roly Poly Martin and all these other people, they even got Ricky Smiley trying to be out there. Ricky Smiley is playing the same game now. So we had to call him out. The Black grassroots media, that's the reason why you cannot trust anybody that's on white supremacy's payroll, because what they're going to do is they're going to try to joke with you so Black folks can laugh and stuff like that. Black people don't need a lot of entertainers. They don't need a lot of comedians. We don't need a lot of rappers. We don't need a lot of singers. We don't need a lot of entertainers. That's the reason why we're in the position that we are in. We got to be focused on our power and where our economic system is heading, because they're allowing these immigrants to come over here to basically replace us. You see, Black people are no longer needed in the American social order. So now we're being used as a scapegoat. And so therefore, we got to basically start fighting back in our power. Thank God that the Black grassroots media has came on board, and we're trying to shift and trying to basically, how it's a tug of war when you got your few civil rights leaders who make sense, and they're getting defeated by the white supremacy. And then here comes the grassroots media. We basically is on the same side as the civil rights generation, but we need them to stop cooning. We need them to stop buck dancing. We need them to stop up out here playing games with us. Okay? So what we're saying here is that we're seeing that they're trying to lie and propagate. Family, they're talking about that they've given reparations to some Black folks in Evanston, Illinois. And it's only been 16 people who can qualify. You see, this is propaganda. See, news is in our business here. Black residents get reparations in Evanston, Illinois. Okay? It says the Evanston voted 8-1 to distribute $25,000 each to 16 eligible Black households. Now, how is this reparations? This does not even come close to it. A suburb of Chicago is to become the first city in the United States to pay reparations to Black residents who have suffered housing discrimination. So this is more like a grant that they're giving away, something that you cannot call reparations because it's not. The city council in Evanston, Illinois voted 8-1 to distribute $25,000 to each 16 eligible Black households to use for home repair or as a down payment on property. Okay? Now, see, they're trying to tell you what to do with the money. The funds come mostly from new tax on legalized marijuana. Black Americans were disenfranchised by racist housing decisions and still are. To go on, it says to be eligible, residents must be a Black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 to 1969 or a descendant of such a person. The family must also have been a victim of discrimination in housing because of policies or practices in the city in that time. Okay? U.S. hate crime, you see? So they're making it very impossible for you to basically even get the money. How the hell are they going to be able to prove all of this crap? No, when you know what you're going to, when we talk about reparations, we're talking about people whose ancestry goes back to the killing fields of the American South. That is the people who are eligible for real reparations. See, this is the reason why they don't want us to come to Congress. This is the reason they don't want us speaking. The grassroots will go to speaking. That's the reason why when Dr. Claude Anderson, he went to Congress and spoke back in 1995 when he was invited by Representative John Colliers to talk about reparations within the House Judiciary Committee, I think it is, or whatever it is, that committee. He brought facts to the table. Dr. Claude Anderson produced facts. He produced receipts. They do not want that to happen. That's the reason why they brought most of these immigrants. They bring these immigrants from from other countries, and these people come over here to undermine us. Speaking to undermine, Minneapolis to pay George Floyd's family $27 million. We talked about that yesterday, and then the FBI is now reporting. This is news coming into our newsroom. U.S. hate crime highest more than a decade. That Black people are out here attacking Asians or have increased 27.5%. Come on, folks. You believe that? Black people are out here fighting for a $15 minimum wage. We're out there. We were 3 or 4 days ago with the Hispanics and people downtown Atlanta on cars talking about how we support Asians. You had Al Sharpton and Ben Crump out there talking about they held a press conference talking about their support for the Asian community. We have always supported these people, man. But back to the subject, I was wanting to give you breaking news here that came into our news room. Evanston has pledged to distribute $10 million over a decade. Around 16% of the city's residents are Black. You see, this is the problem. If 16% of the residents are Black, then how do they qualify? I mean, how do these people, the 16%, is going to qualify by proving that they had some type of discrimination back in 1919. You understand? Now I can see if they said, well, if your family was born in America and your great-grandparents was born here and you stay in the town of Evanston, we'll give you reparation. That makes sense to me because they know that a lot of Black folks are all Black people, most of them, besides the immigrants, the Black immigrants, would basically qualify. See, the city of Evanston is playing a game here. It goes on to write here, though, from the BBC News, that Evanston has pledged to distribute $10 million over a decade. Around 60% of city residents are Black. White residents in Evanston out-earn Black residents by $46,000 a year. We've been very excited to see the first national direct benefit from some of our harm we had to experience from the past. Cam Howard, co-chair of the National Coalition for Blacks and Reparation in America, told CBS News, see, this is a Democratic shield organization. These Negroes do not fight for Black people as a whole. They try to get certain types of just pats on the back by lying and claiming that they're for black people, but they're getting these band-aid solutions. They're getting all these beggary programs and thinking that this is progress. You understand? And that's the reason why the black community, specifically the young people, are not following these civil rights leaders no more. The more local initiative occurs, the more impetus there is on the federal government to act. Okay, it goes on to say here, this article, that, but not everyone has been supportive of reparations in this form. Alderman Cicely Fleming, who is herself black and voted against the plan, said she support reparation, but said the plan assumed black people could not manage their own money. True reparations should respect black people's autonomy and allow them to determine how to repair will be managed, she said. Discussion over how to address housing discrimination increased following a report last year that illustrated how black people had faced restrictions on where they could live dating back to 1855 when the first black resident arrived. You see, she recognized, this Cicely Fleming, this black woman, recognized that this right here is propaganda. She recognized that these people are basically lying about how this is reparation, calling anything reparations. She's pointing this out. Okay, and we need black people running for government like her. It goes on to say here, though, that the impact over generations was accumulated and permanent, that they were the means by which legacies were limited and denied, the report stated. A fair house law passed in Evanston in 1968, but evidence showed that black people were steered towards a section of towns where they were the majority until 1985. Hundreds of communities across the U.S. are considering reparations in black people, including the state of California, Iowa City, and Providence, Rhode Island. But there is not a lot of support for such reparations in the U.S. A Reuters IPSO survey last year found that just 20% of respondents back using taxpayers' money to pay damage to descendants of enslaved people in the United States, end quote. Now, stop right there. Did they say that they're using taxpayer money to give them this money? No, they said that they're going to, with the taxes on legalized marijuana, that's how they're going to do it. In fact, they should be paying a tax to do it. That's an argument that I would raise as well. It should be people who are basically white and these immigrants who are coming and who have abandoned their own countries. They should be the one paying the tax to pay the reparations. But we're going on here. The movement towards some form of reparation for African Americans as a restitution for centuries of slavery and racism accelerated in the wake of the death of George Floyd last year. The unarmed black man died in Minneapolis while detained by police, and this sparked worldwide protests. We're going to be speaking on this case, Derek Chauvin and George Floyd's death. We're going to be speaking on that family when I get back to Atlanta. We're going to be talking about that, man, because that case, see, they're already setting up for that man to get off. They're already setting the stage. Thank God that the black media is going to be covering. You understand? The black media has always covered these things. That's the reason why we have to understand the propaganda that the white media has came up with. See, here's the thing. This is what they're upset about. They're upset about, thank you for saying happy birthday, pretty woman, and classic cars. But they're upset about the ideal is that black people are no longer buying into the narrative. We're no longer doing what this old civil rights generation is doing, and that is to just basically look at the crumbs that have been thrown down by white supremacists and say, man, this is all right. White daddy done gave me a job here. White daddy and white mommy, they love us. And see, we're going to take this and we're going to be happy. They're upset because black kids are not doing that. The black youth are not basically listening to them. they're tuning into the black media. We have become a threat to the white supremacists, and they're bought and paid for black flunkies. They're no longer leading the narrative and controlling the narrative as to how we're going to get our news reporting. And that's a problem for them. It was then not a black person, but it was a white person, somebody who should be an ally to white supremacy, who told a white news reporter, no one listened to the media no more. No one listened to you. Because it's no matter how you try to basically align yourself with black people and speak certain types of truths to power, and then turn around, you come with the argument from the white supremacists. You can't put both of them in the same bag here. We are opposite. We don't want to be aligned with the white supremacists. The white supremacists hate us. So why would we then want to basically watch the same kind of news media that the white supremacists watch? No, you got black people tuning in to the black media. The black media is taking over. The understanding here of black people following the money, like Mike Brown and Tamir White Rice's mom said, they basically now have set up a precedent that we must follow the money. You see, the Jews, the white people, follow the money. Asian people follow the money. Black people, we out here, like I said, we up here caught up in the personality of a person. That's dumb. But I like how Mike Brown's father and Tamir Rice's mother focusing now on the money. Got Black Lives Matter out here, worried that black people are going to start focusing on the money. Why would they, give these people any kind of platform to speak about the money, the $90 million that Black Lives Matter raised? You understand? So the 16 black people who do get this $25,000 grant, they're going to give it to black people who, if they bought property and cannot maintain that property, is going to lose it in a matter of months or years. Why? Because this is the same tactic that they used in the slave trade. We've talked about this, how these racist banks who basically got their monies and their funding from the slave labor, how they were able to take property owned by black freemen at the time. See, the Jim Crow era teaches us a lot how the white supremacists are very clever in how they basically manufacture information and say, hey, look at this contract. Remember yesterday I told you, because a black person, this black slave couldn't read, all they had to do was the white supremacist said, sign your name, and you put X. They turned to that black slave and said, you just signed your property away, nigga. So now that we got knowledge and we got some information, at least most of us who are intelligent and smart, we looked at it and said, hey, wait a minute now. You just give me $25,000. That's no money. And telling me what to do with the money, that's not reparations. How the hell are you going to tell me what to do with it or about? I told you before that every time that they create a system, it's a system where they create where black men are going to be at the bottom, white men are going to be at the top, and they're going to have a system in place where they're going to manufacture information. They're going to always say, well, here's your little strategy. We talked about, like I said, in 1804, when Haitians, when they defeated France or whatever, remember they came back after Haiti won and said, hey, well, this is the system we're going to put up for you all in Haiti. Like, what the hell? No, cracker, we won the war. You understand? And so you got those coons that came after them. just like you have the coon that came after Malcolm X and Dr. King. These people in the civil rights movement have basically sold us out for so long that basically they know that a lot of their black kids are despising them. You see, if it wasn't for the grassroots black media, we would have continued on down that road of lies and manipulation and propaganda. They're having a hard time. Their numbers basically are fading, and white supremacy is on its way out. So that's the reason why they're creating a buffer class to partner with. I remember I told you here in Las Vegas, in California, and other places, remember what they've done? They basically brought Hispanics from the South border, and the Hispanics, even when they have like gangs and all these other people who are recruited by the police, these are going to be people protecting the white supremacists. And as they protect the white supremacists, they're going to also basically be given a license to kill black people with impunity. You must recognize when somebody is coming from out of another part of the country, from the world, and parts of the world that you don't know and they don't know about you, their first mindset, their first thought pattern is for them to say, "Oh, this is a bad neighborhood. Let me pull out my gun and let me shoot and kill this Negro." That's the mindset that the white supremacists have put into these Hispanics and other people, like George Zimmerman. They're then brushing the Asians to do the same thing here. The Asians are all this attack that Asians are being attacked by black people. Now they're setting up they're setting up this premise and this notion that Asians better watch out for these black folks here in the country. They're very dangerous. So now that the Asians get a green pass and get a license to shoot and kill black people, and then legislation is passed to protect them because what? An Asian person fear for their life. This is how badly they hate us. They hate us so much, it ends in a result of this is going to be the way. This is the best way, the best thing that they can think of while the white supremacists are losing their power in the world. This is the best they can come up with. You see, the strategies are not working no more. We are more educated. See, we're no longer listening to the old black dead media who try to then make everything comical, who are not talking about facts and information and speaking truth to power. Okay? This is the end of the road for them, and they know it. Okay? You have to understand the propaganda here. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out today's commentary. And I thought we was going to get some calls, but I needed y'all to go to my chat line, the chat and talk in the chat, because I think the phone system was down, and it still might be down. I don't know if it's in because I'm in Las Vegas right now. We don't know. But I'll be back live Sunday night in Atlanta on my birthday on the 28th. So join me for that. But that would be kind of a late version on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Thank you for joining us tonight live in Las Vegas, the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. And just wait about a minute or so. You'll see the rerun of this broadcast.